Okay.
Yeah, we are. All right. Hi, guys. Welcome to this YouTube Live on NDTV Profit, where we are figuring out what is spooking the markets, hoping to answer some of your questions. So please write in and tell us what to do. And it's been a tough couple of days. Some improvement in the last hour or so. I think what is heartening is at least broader markets are doing better. It's Nifty, which is in a bit of pain. Look at your micro cap, your small cap still doing better. So portfolios maybe not as hit today.
Today, yes.
Today,
Okay. Okay.
Or as of now.
For now. As of now.
Actually, that's the right thing to put. You know, I think we'll all get to factors, but the funny thing or the slightly disconcerting thing was that at 24,000, so we spoke about it the other day on IMO, right? India Markets Open. We used to calling it IMO, by the way. You should tune into the show, by the way. So we spoke about it that the band earlier was 24,800 to 25,200. It's now shifted 1,000 points lower. We did see a bounce from 24,000 to 24,200 odd or 180 odd, but that got quickly sold into. And these days the slides are happening very, very quick. It's 1.5% every day. So you don't see that really large 3% fall. But if you look at it over the week, you've lost 2.5%, and you're at 23,500 before you know
2.8% in November alone. That's the loss for Nifty, if you speak. And if you look at the FNO side of it, and I was looking at the numbers in the morning, 23,300 is where the puts are getting concentrated. So there's a support that's getting created in 23.
I would say 23,200. If you speak to all the technical analysts we've been speaking to as well, around 23,200. But you're right.
The puts are getting concentrated. Build up at 23,300, and that could be a good support coming in for the Nifty, which is.
Yeah, but the point being, let's come to the factors and what is really happening. And you were talking about the FNO data, Sajid. Do you think that's part of it? November 20th, there is a big change.
It's already happened, na? Nifty Bank
Nifty is
over.
gone.
So that.
But your lot size, the amount of money you have to put up, all of that also changes from 20th November. Do you think some preparation coming in there and that has spoiled the sentiment a bit, or people are waiting to see?
No,
what is happening?
I don't think that's going to happen, because many of them are day traders. They trade for 30-40 minutes in a day. What is happening is that volumes will dry up, as a result of which the spreads are going to increase, and that could be one of the reasons where we will have a lot of volatility again coming into the market if the spreads come there. So my point is that FNO impact because of the SEBI changes is not going to be there. Markets in general, because of the fundamental reasons as well as global factors, are getting influenced.
So I'll tell you, Tamanna has, I believe, a list of global factors as well. I'll add, actually, so why don't you go first?
No, so not just global. So I
factors,
I put up a list today on what is spooking markets as per what I am reading.
Right.
For one, I think the economy is a problem whether we agree or not. Look at what companies are coming and saying. They're saying, so Q1 we heard Chunav tha, result tha, there was election cycle, so things dried up. What happened in Q2?
Monsoon, extended monsoon.
Now, every company across the band, we speak to so many companies, all of them, everyone coming and saying that. What is more concerning is when you listen into earnings conference calls, their outlook is not that positive. No company has the confidence to come and say, second half will definitely be better. This is a blip, this is temporary, things will get better. They're of course saying things like, yes, second half is traditionally better, we hope it will be. But the commentary coming in, a Britannia coming in and saying that urban consumption is coming down is a problem. That one statement from Nestle saying middle class shrinking, all of these are concerns. So that is corporate results, not actually that bad on balance, but the commentary is a bit negative. That has been a concern. Economic outlook has been a bit negative. An OPEC Plus coming and saying that we're dropping our demand outlook because of China and India is a bit of a concern. Inflation at a 14-month high. So RBI no more to cut rates, no support coming in from there. Some of these things piling up, and FII is selling. Over 1.15 lakh crores gone since October. So it's, when the tide recedes, you see everything on the beach. That is where we are right now. So these are some
at
of the
beginning of Q2, our assumption was कि monsoon अच्छे होने वाले, projections अच्छे हैं, इसलिए rural economy pick करेगी, तो consumption rural से आएगा. But अगर आप Q2 के नंबर्स के बाद देखेंगे, फर्टिलाइजर स्टॉक्स हैव नॉट परफॉर्म वेल. रीजन क्या है? यूरिया और DAP प्राइसेस हैव गॉन अप अ लॉट. सब गवर्नमेंट हैजंट कम आउट विद सब्सटेंशियल सब्सिडी. उसकी वजह से इंपोर्ट कम हो गया है दोनों का. अब कंपनी से पूछेंगे तो टॉप लाइन्स हैव फॉलन बिकॉज DAP और यूरिया के प्राइसेस बढ़ने की वजह से कंपनीज ने इंपोर्ट कम कर दिया है. सो जो कॉस्ट जो है अभी काफ़ी कुछ कॉस्ट पर्कुलेट होगा रूरल सेक्टर पे भी आगे जाके, क्योंकि अगर आप सब्सिडी नहीं है और बेचे आप प्राइवेट से करोगे तो वो आएगा, वो इम्पैक्ट आएगा. अभी नहीं आएगा तो नेक्स्ट क्रॉप में आएगा, वो इम्पैक्ट आने वाला है. दूसरा जो है कंजम्पशन, शॉर्ट फिलिप आया है रूरल में, सब कंपनीज बोल रही हैं, पर वो कितना सस्टेनेबल है वो थोड़ा सा इशू है वहाँ पर. अर्बन तो ठीक है, देयर इज
Urban's coming down.
वो तो अब अर्बन में तो ये कमेंट्री पिक्चर तीन क्वार्टर से हो रही है. और ये कमेंट्री को अगर आप मैप करोगे तो जहाँ पर जब RBI ने बैंकिंग सेक्टर्स और अनसिक्योर्ड पे और क्रेडिट कार्ड्स पे जो रिस्ट्रिक्शन डाली हैं, उसके बाद से ये मैप हो रहा है. Which basically means वो अनसिक्योर्ड जो था वो कंजम्पशन में जा रहा था अर्बन में, वो अभी कम हो रहा है.
Okay, so there is some concern. Guys, by the way, if you're watching, do write in with your questions. We're happy to give insight on them and know what you are thinking as well, not just questions. What are you thinking? These are our reasons for why the market is falling, but what do you think? We're keen to know.
Yeah, so one of the other factors, a technical factor, and you have to admit that it is true because fund manager after fund manager in private conversations is saying this, that ever since SEBI changed the rules for what quantum of buying that they can do below a particular band.
It's a rule came from SEBI which AMFI has implemented.
So 2% either side, VWAP or 10% of the total volume, and even fund managers are coming to terms with it. Okay, how do we ensure that we will not get not really called up but pulled up for something like this? So heavy bids that used to be the case in the last, even in the month of October while the selling was on, the heavy bidding that used to happen from the DIIs on the small cap and the mid cap end of the market, because that's where the volatility is very high, that bidding is come down. मतलब म्यूचुअल फंड जाके खरीद नहीं रहे हैं जो तेजी से पहले खरीद रहे हैं, बल्क में इतना नहीं खरीद रहे हैं. But now the only caveat that I want to lay out is that we've had a near one-way fall from 26,200 to near 23,700. That's 2,500 points on the Nifty
10.5%
and larger damage on individual portfolios, mid caps and small caps. As of I was of the opinion that maybe some redemptions have started, but we spoke to Ashish Somaya in the morning, and there was some math that was then sent to me by somebody, said that end of October mutual funds are sitting on 1.5 lakh crores of cash. So what has happened is that in a bunched up fashion for 45 days on a trot, give or take the holidays, but 45 days on a trot, we've not seen such high FI selling. That selling number is now come down to 2,000-3,000 a day. Once that gets exhausted, because at some point of time it will, and the mutual fund buying comes back, something tells me we are closer to the bottom than we probably were about 15 days ago.
इसमें एक काउंटर है मेरा VWAP पे. फंड मैनेजर्स ये एक्सक्यूज लेके चलते हैं कि VWAP की वजह से आई एम नॉट एबल टू बाय और आई एम नॉट एबल टू सेल, बट आपके पास विंडो है दो, जो रेगुलेटरी विंडो आपको दिया हुआ है, आप ब्लॉक डील में या बल्क डील के विंडो में कर सकते हैं.
Because you can buy in that day. So November 13th you had 6,000 crores of DII buying.
Yeah. तो वो भी नहीं, VWAP तो है ना.
Price damage that happens when you can't put in a counter bid at the same time versus putting in the bid through the day makes an impact on the
आपके बल्क डील का विंडो है ना, वहाँ पर वो प्राइस इम्पैक्ट नहीं होगा ना.
Fund managers are saying it's not happening.
Okay, so maybe that could be one factor, but I'm saying I have a different question. Can we now admit?
And you have to answer that question as well, by the way.
That FI also, so let me put it this way. This is one of those questions जिसका जवाब सवाल में ही है. Can we now admit that FIIs matter to the Indian markets?
Yes,
because 2 महीने पहले तक सब बोल रहे थे who cares about FIIs?
That narrative has changed.
SIP है ना, and SIPs have crossed record levels in the last month. 25,000 crore के ऊपर चला गया. So record levels on SIPs. We've said thinga to FIIs, we don't care. The fact is that when you have a time when there's so much saman and supply coming in the primary market, you need FIIs to come in. And FIIs have not. So as robust as our domestic investing is, our retail investors zindabad, no doubt, but we want FIIs to come back as well. We need them in this market.
For the prices
इसमें FIIs के इसमें एक नंबर मैं देना चाहता हूँ. तो नंबर ये है कि ऑफ कोर्स FIIs ने 1.5 लाख करोड़ बेचा है अक्टूबर से अब तक. 1.5 लाख करोड़ नेट बेसिस पे फ्रॉम सितंबर 27 टू नाउ. नवंबर का भी ऐड कर लो आप उसमें. 1.5 लाख करोड़ बेचा है उसने. बट द बिगर डैमेज विच हैज हैपेंड इज टू द पोर्टफोलियो वैल्यू. $85 बिलियन कम हो गए हैं. डॉलर इज हाई, मतलब इट्स गॉन अप. तो रिटर्न जो है उनका और कम हो गया उसकी वजह से. So there are multiple factors which are influencing FI flows as well as FI returns as we speak.
Yeah.
But the point being what?
The point being is that unless there is a cap or a slowdown to the dollar rise, ये flows, negative flows होते रहेंगे.
But it's not going to happen because
it's not going to happen.
Trump administration means the dollar is going to get stronger.
So
it's up one. It's at the highest level of 1 month yesterday.
उससे और ये आगे और भी जाएगा. और इसका इम्पैक्ट जो है ग्लोबल लेवल पे आप देखोगे तो येन पे जब आएगा, येन 155 पे है, 155 पे येन है और 155 के ऊपर जापानीज इंटरवेंशन आएगा सेंट्रल बैंक का. इट कुड बी ऑन करेंसी, इट कुड बी ऑन थ्रू एन इंटरेस्ट रेट. अगर इंटरेस्ट रेट इंटरवेंशन आया विच की मतलब कि इंटरेस्ट रेट ऊपर जाएगा तो अगेन वी सी अ प्रेशर कमिंग इन बिकॉज ऑफ येन कैरी कमिंग इन विच इज देयर. सो ऑल ऑफ दिस जो है वो डॉलर के ऊपर डिपेंड कर रहा है अभी, स्पेशली FI flows.
Agreed. Now we know that the FI flows have largely been towards the US. It's not necessarily gone to China. If anything, there has been
China से withdrawal हो रहा है.
China.
Withdrawal हो रहा है.
So therefore, we know that China is therefore not technically a competition.
It's not a China
flows.
trade which is happening.
Right. It is the US trade.
Yeah.
Now this trade could last for a while as well. But one thing you also have to take cognizance of: fund manager after fund manager who invests in the US market is now complaining about how narrow that market is.
Yeah.
5 stocks leading the charge. The broader economy not quite coming in.
Bas all Nvidia and
Max 7 जो कर रहे हैं.
Right. So at some point of time, that trade also will see a pause. Every good trade, I mean, trees don't grow to the sky. Every good trade will also hit a pause. Every bad trade will also stop falling. Something, like I said, I may sound like a broken record, but I'm a lot more optimistic
You're
today.
sounding like इस रात की भी सुबह होगी type, मतलब
कभी होगी.
Okay, कभी होगी. So no. So a question from Surendra: will markets rebound? Answer is yes.
Yes.
Question is when.
When?
So question. Let's come to the when question. Can I just put one date in 4th? May not happen. But I think that if 23rd November you have a result of the Maharashtra elections, which is positive for the current government at the center, only because markets like continuity and Maharashtra is one of those puzzles that nobody can solve. What has happened in the last 5 years is so confusing. 3 parties have become 6, and who is with whom, vote fragmented, etc. But through this mess, if you have the Mahayuti, which is the BJP-led grouping, coming into power clearly, you don't have a fragmented split vote in Maharashtra, financial capital, 48 seats to the Lok Sabha, very important state, then that's going to be one boost, definitely sentimentally. What is going to be the other boost is that government will have to at some point start spending.
We've seen positive commentary there today. So for example, companies that we spoke to today on the channel, viewers, you might want to tune into the conversations of Ramakrishna Forgings, maybe a Kalyan Jewelers, maybe Thermax as well. All of them have said that there is some bit of spend that is happening. Parag Thakkar, who was with us, actually said that he spoke to 2 cement companies and they have said that the government has started spending too. Rhythm Desai in the Diwali show said that they've spent about 50,000 crores versus an average of 93,000 that the government needed to spend per month. So if all of these spends come back, there is a positive. My guess is, I mean, nobody can time markets and give dates. So, but this is, I mean, we're just kind of talking. I believe that if the fund outflows ebb post-November, after 2 months of incessant outflows from the Indian markets, you're probably seeing a possibility of a good December, because by then markets will start discounting how good a Jan, Feb, March quarter might have been,
So
and how
December-
better Q3 will be over the scare that we had in Q2.
But again, you
Yeah.
have flows dry up end
But-
of December, so you
But
have
at least
one
there'll not be
month.
outflows.
At least there'll
नीरज
not be.
बट वहाँ पर भी ना मैक्रो लेवल पे वी हैव टू एग्री टू द फैक्ट FY25 का जो कैपेक्स का जो टारगेट था वो मीट नहीं होने वाला है वो
Sajid,
और
I don't
वो
think that-
FY26
Sajid,
के लिए
I don't
now
think-
now we are playing for
honestly, too much of
FY26
macro, but just a very small
हाँ,
point
because
here.
because
I
ये
don't
सब
think-
वहाँ पर
no,
आया
My limited point is I don't think the country has the capacity to absorb the pent up, the remainder money.
Yeah.
So वो नहीं होने वाला,
नहीं
वो पता
हुआ।
है. That
Actually,
is
just
discounted.
to wrap up what Parag Thakkar told us today, I think that's important because he gave specific
Ideas.
His point was that there are a lot of companies who have had good results which have been ignored by a market in a bad mood. He talked about HDFC Bank, ICICI Bank, State Bank of India. He talked about cement companies, and
Emcure Pharma,
Emcure
Ramco
Pharma,
Cement.
Ramco Cements, a lot of companies which have done well. So I think one homework that people can do when they're looking for ideas.
Very good point.
Go back, look at what results were like. Fundamentally, companies that have managed to pull through with good numbers and a solid plan in a bad time. I think those are the ones you have to bet on. Thoda homework you will have to do, the rest we'll do for you.
Yeah,
to watch
spot on.
NDTV Profit.
Yeah, and just last point from my end at least is that if you are a mutual fund investor, let's assume some of you invest through mutual funds, right?
Yeah.
You should celebrate downtakes because that's when you get to buy more units for the same amount of money that is going out every month.
So don't look at your app for